This is a video about the Lumineth realmlords spell lore, the first part of the battletome review of the Lumineth. Hello, this is 60 Goblins and 1 Brush with the first part of the Lumineth realmlords battletome review. First of all, I want to talk about the spell lores. We have two spell lores, the lore of Hysh and the lore of the High Peaks. The lore of Hysh can be cast by Teclis, the Cathalars and the Vanari wizards. And the Light of Ethereal. I'm not sure why they wrote this. The Light of Ethereal cannot cast spells unless maybe you give him the ability to cast a spell. And Vanari wizards, the leaders of the units can cast spells, but only their own spells. So probably there will be some more heroes to come. Then the lore of the High Peaks can be cast by Teclis again and the Alarith wizards. So far this is only the Alarith Stone Mage. There is a bit of a hero shortage in this battletome, but maybe this will be remedied later. We are still waiting for flying units, especially the guy who sits on the cloud. Anyway, both spell lores are quite powerful. In many spell lores you have 2 or 3 spells and the rest is crap. But in this case all the spells are very good and the lore of Hysh is extremely powerful. All the spells are amazing. The first spell is Speed of Hysh. Cast on a 5, so very easy, and you pick one friendly unit within 18 inches and you double their move characteristic. This could be great. I'm not sure if you can do this with Ethereal, but this could be amazing. Definitely this could be useful for the Alarith units because they're quite slow. The Stone Guard, for example, 4 inches because they're heavily armored. And for the Dawn Riders, of course, this will be devastating. They have a 12-inch move anyway. No, 14 inches. So they could move 28 inches. So with this spell, the Dawn Riders could be almost at any objective in no time. Next is Solar Flare, which is cast on an 8 because it's really powerful. The tricky thing is this will not only affect your enemies but yourself as well. The main effect of this spell is that you subtract 2 from casting, dispelling and unbinding rolls for wizards within 12 inches of the point you chose. And the point from which this effect will flare out is within 10 inches of the caster. So he will be within the radius and thus will also suffer the effect of the spell. The next spell is Lambent Light. Casting value of 5, so again very easy, 18 inches, pick one enemy unit, and then you can reroll hit rolls for attacks with missile weapons against that unit. So this is amazing for the Sentinels. The Sentinels are already very good, but with this spell, wow. Then one of the most powerful spells is Ethereal Blessing. Ethereal Blessing basically gives one friendly unit within 18 inches for a 6 casting value of 6, that's very low, the Ethereal rule, which means that no modifiers, positive or negative, can affect the save roll. And since most units have a save of 4+, this is just the same as the Ethereal rule for the Nighthaunt. The next spell is Total Eclipse. This is one of the mini spells. It's very powerful, casting value of 8. And if this is cast, then your opponent must spend 2 command points instead of 1 until your next hero phase. We have to see in battle situations how this and the lightning reactions really turn out, if this spoils the game or not. But this is a very new kind of gimmick, and let's see how it plays. And the last Hysh spell is the Protection of Hysh, casting value of 8, and you choose a friendly unit wholly within 9 inches of the caster, and they will get a 5+ after save. That is also very powerful. So those are the 6 Lore of Hysh spells. Now Lore of the High Peaks. I really like them, but anyway, I'm a little bit biased towards the Alarith units. I love those guys. The first spell is Unyielding Calm. So you pick one unit wholly within 18 inches of the caster, and they do not have to take battle shock tests. And it's a casting value of 4. So it's very likely to go off. Then Crippling Vertical. This is a nice one. Casting value of 6, 18 inches range, and you roll 2d6 anytime the unit that has been bewitched wants to move, charge, or pile in. And if your roll is greater than the unit's bravery, it cannot move, charge, or pile in, because they're in the grip of terrible vertigo, imagining they're standing on the precipice of a mountain peak. Nice. Then Voice of the Mountains. This is also brutal. Casting value of 6, and then subtract 2 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units. Enemy units. It doesn't say how many, and any range. So I suspect it's all enemy units on the whole battlefield minus 2 bravery in until the end of the turn, and then until your next hero phase minus 1 bravery. This could be crushing, because so many units, they have a bravery of, let's say, 6, and then they would have only 4, so many could run away. Next spell is Living Fissure. So suddenly an abyss opens up in the floor, in the ground, and then you pick a point on the battlefield within 9 inches of the caster and draw a line between the caster and that point, and any unit that is within that line, that is passed by this line on a 2+ suffers D3 mortal wounds. This is not so strong, I would say, the spell. Quite situational. But then Entomb. Entomb is the most powerful spell of the whole High Peaks lore. Casting value of 7. Pick one enemy model within 18 inches. And if the roll is greater than the wounds characteristic, that model is slain. Of course, this is the usual thing. It has to be a model with 5 or less wounds. But, and this is the interesting thing, if the roll is 6 but not greater than the model's wounds characteristic, that model suffers D6 mortal wounds. So if it's a model that has 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 wounds, it can be slain. If it's a model that has 6 or more wounds, it suffers D6 mortal wounds. Straight out. If you're a good roller, then D6 mortal wounds, that's quite something. And to slay minor heroes, of course, that's also very powerful. There are a lot of heroes with 5 wounds. And now the last spell, the Assault of Stone, is a little bit complex. Casting value of 8. Pick one enemy unit wholly within 24 inches and visible, like most spells. And then whatever you rolled for the casting roll, 8 or higher, as many dice you take and roll less than the save characteristic of that unit. So for example, the unit has a 4+ save and you rolled 8 for the cast, then you have 8 rolls and every 3 causes a mortal wound. Because 1 and 2s always fail for some reason, and 4 is already not high anymore. So this is a powerful spell against units who have a save characteristic of 5, 6 or 0. Yeah, if someone has no save at all, it counts as a 6. So 3s, 4s and 5s are potentially lethal. And then we have 4 private spells of the spellcasters. One is Teclis' spells, the protection of Teclis, which cannot be cast at the same unit than the other protection spell. This is also a 5+ aftersave. Casting value of 10, and it affects all friendly units wholly within 18 inches of Teclis. This is quite something. And then the Storm of Searing White Light. That's nice. That's similar to Tzeentch's Firestorm. Also casting value of 10. And you roll against one enemy within 18 inches. On a 1 nothing happens. 2 to 4 D3 mortal wounds. 5 up D6 mortal wounds. Note that these two spells, like any other spells, Teclis autocasts. Teclis has up to 4 spells. If he only casts one spell, it is automatically cast and cannot be unbound. If he casts 2 spells, he automatically rolls a 12 and it can be unbound. And if he casts 4 spells, he automatically rolls a 10 and can also be unbound. So he can cast 4 spells with a casting value of 10, auto 10. And since there are no spells higher than 10, he can always cast them unless you curse him with something. Then the Vanari Cathalars. This is not a named character. There are several Vanari Cathalar wizards. Female, it seems. So they have one private spell.
The Darkness of the Soul.
Casting value of 7. One enemy unit within 18 inches and visible. And then you roll 2d6 each time they want to make a move, charge, or shooting, or fighting action. If your 2d6 roll is greater than the unit's bravery, they cannot. So it seems she's the Lady Olinda of the Lumineth. Even more horrible is her ability, emotional transference, but I will talk about that when I talk about the wizards in another video. And lastly, the private spell of the Alarith Stone Mage, Gravitic Redirection. On a casting value of 5, he can fly. And in addition, because you messed with gravity, you pick one enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster and it suffers 1 mortal wound, and until your next hero phase it cannot move. No, it cannot fly, and its move characteristic is halved. So this is it for today. First part of the battletome review. The spell lore, it's a magic faction all about magic, so I thought I'd start with the spell lore. We will look at other aspects as well. The book is also extremely well written. That's a nice change. And if you have any wishes which aspect I shall review next, please do so. Leave it in the comments below. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching, and see you very soon.